All right, the last problem on your review packet for the mid-quarter 3 test, which is another skill set that you'll be expected to have mastered by the time you take that test, is this problem 4161, which is a closure problem from chapter 4 involving quadratics. So you have to find the x and y intercepts, the vertex, you have to sketch the graph, and you have to write it in graphing form. I'm not necessarily going to do it in that order. Those are the things we have to do. So for part A, the equation is y equals x squared plus 8x plus 12. So the y-intercept is pretty easy to see. So I'm going to do that one first because it doesn't involve too much work. Remember to find the y-intercept. If you're looking at a graph and you are crossing the y-axis, x equals 0 here. And so I'm just going to plug in 0 for the x's. 0 squared plus 8 times 0 plus 12 is 12. There's my y-intercept. The x-intercepts, those happen when y equals 0. So notice that when I'm here, y equals 0 at this point, no matter what x is. So that's a little bit trickier because I have to set y equal to 0. And usually what I like to do is try to factor if I can. So let's see, I know it's going to be x times x here. And if you're having trouble factoring, remember that in the Chapter 5 Mastery Topics videos, you'll find the factoring thing there. I know 6 times 2 is 12, and also 6 plus 2 is 8, so I'm just going to go ahead and use plus 6 and plus 2 to factor that. See, when I multiply this, I get x squared plus 2x plus 6x plus 12. So they're the same thing, just written differently. And the reason I want to write them this way is because now each of these factors I can set equal to 0, because 0 times anything is 0. And so either x is negative 6 or x is negative 2. There's my x-intercepts. I'll say negative 6 and negative 2. All right, so I did the x and y intercepts. The vertex. Well, I'm going to write it in graphing form first because it's easy to see that vertex when I write this in graphing form. And I'm personally going to use that shortcut that we've been doing in class because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. So I look at this number and I divide it by 2. So if I just had this part, I would have x plus 4 squared, because remember, x plus 4 squared is x squared plus 8x plus 16. But I just added a whole extra 16 to that, and I didn't want to, so I am going to subtract off the 16. So now I just have x squared plus 8x. But I also need this plus 12 at the end, so I'm going to put that on there too. So what I do is I divide that middle number by 2, and I stick that here. I subtract off whatever that number is squared, and then I remember to finish that off, the whole equation. And now I'm just going to simplify that, so y equals x plus 4 squared minus 4. Now the a value is already given to me. There would be a number here if there was any a value on there. We haven't really talked about what to do in that case yet, but we will. So here I can see that, so now I've written it in the form, and now I can see the vertex is negative 4, because this is x minus negative 4, and this is a negative 4 here. And that's all they wanted for that one. Oh, sketch the graph. Now I can sketch the graph pretty easily by just putting a few key points. I already know I'm going to have to go up a little higher on the y-axis because I already know that the x-intercepts are negative 6 and negative 2. I know that the y-intercept is 12, which is going to be somewhere way up here. And I know that the vertex is negative 4, negative 4. So there we go. There's my sketch. And I think I would just put a couple key points on there. Okay, you can see the next video for the rest of them.